Alrighty guys, how the hell y'all doing today? You got BP here in Little Blue. And what are we going to do? We are gonna go bunch some bales in a field. We need to, we got trucks coming for hay, and I'm gonna just load them trucks. Well, potentially there's supposed to be 2 trucks coming tomorrow, and then another couple trucks coming on Saturday. So I figured, instead of me hauling the bales home to the yard and then just handling them, handling them to load them, handling them to unload them, then handling them to load them again, we might as well just bunch the bales up in the field and go with that. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna go bunch some bales in the field and have the trucks come right to the field. You can load right out of the field and be gone. Here's our oats, and it's looking like we're gonna have to cut it down here pretty goddamn quick. She's turning on us, guys. She's turning. And the barley, pending weather, the barley will be coming down this week probably. Anyways, now I just want to knock on the door of a couple of questions and try and answer some questions that guys have been leaving me in their comments. Let's get this puppy up to speed a little bit. There we are. So, how many bales did we make? We made just over 1,000 bales. How many acres did we do? Just a smidge over 320. How many bales are we keeping? I'm keeping a bare minimum of 600. How many are we selling? 300. Not all of my bales that I made are mine. So, I got a guy behind me pulling a trailer. Just hang on, guys. There he goes. Anyways, so pretty much all of our hay land is rented land, and it's all crop share. Either 1/3, 2/3. I get 2/3, the landowner gets 1/3. Or, in the case of the last heavy alfalfa grass field that we cut and baled, being that the landowner bought the alfalfa grass seed, yes, I did the work to put it in the ground, but he bought the grass seed, and he did help with lugging them bags up into the machine. Anyway, with him, we're 50-50 for this year. So he gets half the bales that we made in that field, and I get half the bales. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Normally, I buy all of their 1/3 share, and I just pay them money for their 1/3 share. If they're not keeping it for themselves, then I buy it from them. But this year, because we had an abundance of hay, I'm buying their share, but I'm actually selling it. So, for the money that I get for it is the money that they get for it. So I'm actually going the extra mile. I found buyers for their 1/3 share, and actually it's all one guy. One guy is buying all of it, and that 1/3 share is what. So yeah, I'm doing a little bit extra than I normally would, because I didn't have to find buyers for their hay in the past, because I bought it and kept it for myself. But this year I found buyers for their share, and I'm playing the middleman or the hay broker for them. They don't have to load their bales. They don't do nothing. They don't lift a finger. We do it all. So CP and I do all the work, right from the cutting, the baling, land rolling the rocks down, hauling the bales off the field, trucking them, to finding buyers and lining up trucks. In some cases, the buyer might have his own truck, and lining him up to come and get these bales hauled off the fields. So yeah, that's what's going on. So right now we're gonna head out and we're gonna bunch some bales out in this field. There's, if I remember correctly, 208 bales. So whether I bunch them all in one big pile, or if I make multiple piles of 34 bales per pile, because that's a truckload. 34 bales will fit on a truck. So it'll be one or the other. Anywho, let's get to the field. And because since I baled it up, to be honest guys, I have no idea what the second cut even looks like. So we'll find out when we get there. Talk to y'all later. Alrighty guys, well, we're out here and that alfalfa's looking pretty darn good right here, right? Like, it's knee high. But you get about 60 feet away and everything changes drastically. You get 60 feet away from the bush edges and everything changes, or even 100 feet away from the bush edges, everything changes quite quickly. That just goes to show you how dry it got on us. Like the bush edges, it'll be taller, it's nicer, it's thicker, it's lusher, it's heavier, it's all that for one major reason. It caught a lot of snow and it held the moisture in the ground along the bush edges. But then you get out more in the open, drier ground, and it's not as nice. At least this part of the field anyway. You might ask, why is there a bale way over there by itself? It's the last bale that was made in the field, and it's smaller than the rest. That's why. So that one, I'll just scoop it up when we're done, take it home. Anyways, but there is a second cut here, and it's pretty decent, all in all, compared to some areas. Are we going to cut a second cut? No, I am not cutting a second cut. Landowner does not like when I cut a second cut on his land. He says it stresses the alfalfa too much. He believes it stresses the alfalfa too much. And for all the big open areas or the brown spots that you see, well, that would be the ground, and it's not worth it. Let it grow, let it catch snow for next year, is my thoughts anyways. So, and to some of the comments, BP, aren't you worried about all the dead spots from your bales because you were so slow at moving them? I've actually had a guy that said that to me. And okay, well, I'll show you a dead spot right there, right here where this bale was sitting, this one that we just picked. Okay, that right there. Since I'm not cutting this, I can trample it. Right there, see that? See that right there? Well, all of that brown stuff, it might look dead, but believe it or not, that there would be alfalfa stem and whatnot that's sitting under the bale. You give it a few days now that for the sun to get to it, now that we moved the bale, she'll green right up and it'll be alfalfa and grass growing in there. So having the bale sit in your field for a little while is not the end of the world. Not in my views anyway. Now if I had the bale sit there for a year, or all god darn year until the end of October, November, the alfalfa would probably die off to some extent, and but then the grass will fill it in. The grass always fills it in. From my experience cutting, baling, having bales sit in the fields, if the alfalfa dies off a little bit, the grass fills it in. So there's your answer, guys. Or Mr. Flatlander Express. There's your answer. And if you want to argue with me with it, come on over. I'll bring you out to the field in a week or so, and I'll prove my point. Because I highly doubt I'll remember to bring you all back out to this field in a week and a half and show you the dead spots. But then again, you never know, I might remember to. So, what am I doing? Well, I'm going to bunch up 34 bales in this stack right here in the field. And then we got to do all of those way out there. So that's what we're doing. It's basically about a minute and a half per bale to, depending on how far away from the stack the bales are, to scoop them up and drive from the stack to the bale, and then get the bale back to the stack area. So anyway, this is all organic land. You can see a tractor right over there, some black ground. They just plowed all that ground under. They got a big old bush hog disc behind that Ford Versatile tractor. There it is. I think it is like a 12 or maybe a 14-foot disc. It's not that big, but it takes a few horses to pull the sucker. I don't think my Big Blue could pull it. And then you see this out here. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can for you guys. That's it. Now it looks like a lot of brown shit out there. Well, that's Canada thistle. And then there's also some peas that are yellowing, getting ready, getting closer and closer to having to chop them down, and oats mixed in it. Now this ground that we're sitting on, this hay ground, it was really thistly also. That's why they seeded this ground to hay. And there is still some, when we did the first cut in this field, back at the beginning half of July, there is some thistle areas, and there is still, see that there? There's still thistle patches in this alfalfa coming through. So the whole idea why they seeded this alfalfa was to combat and choke out the thistle and try and get rid of the thistle. But I think it's gonna have to be left here for another year, because the thistles are still coming back wanting to friggin' grow in the alfalfa even. So who knows, we might have this field for next year, we might not, I don't know. But regardless, this is how they combat their weed problems in the organics land, is with like clover, alfalfa, so on and so forth. And then they'll do a green manure plow down. But for the amount of thistle that's still coming up, I would say it needs to be left for at least one more year. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go. Enough bullshit from this cowboy for now. We'll talk to y'all later. Alrighty guys, well, the second cut over on this other half of the field so far, from everything I've seen, is pretty much the same as what I showed you way over at the entranceway of the field. So, but anywho, we're getting it wrapped up. We got that one big pile where we first came into the field. Then we got that one right there. Another one way over there. We're just over, there's 34 bales to a pile. We're just over half done stacking up all these bales, and there's all that out there yet to be done. So now if we'd have had a good inch and a quarter of rain in July, like mid-month, this second cut would be twice the crop that it is. We would have been in here getting these bales the hell out of here, and probably doing a second cut out here. But on average, I'm not going to shave the ground. We don't know what next year is going to be. We're not getting huge rainfall amounts. Like all summer, we have not had really any major rainfall. So I'm going to leave this alone, the second cut, and let it catch snow. Because who knows, like they say you don't make, and I agree, you don't make a good hay crop from snow moisture, but that moisture will help the first cut. It'll be moisture that holds in the ground to some extent, unless we get a really super fast thaw, then it's going to run on me. But on average, we will have moisture in the ground from the snow to carry that crop, not necessarily into a second cut, but into a decent first cut. My goal is to try and maintain a 2 bale minimum, 2 bale per acre hay crop. Will that happen every year? Hell no. But all of these hay fields are relatively young, so if I can maintain a 2 bale per acre, then I think we'll be doing good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I got 8 in here, or 9. Basically 2 rows of 8 and 2 rows of 9 is what we're looking for. That makes us 34. The worst part about doing what I'm doing is you start off with bales really close in one area, and then you got to start carrying them from farther away, and that takes time, obviously. And I'm not using the grapple because I think bouncing along across these fields and stuff with 2 bales on the front end, one, it's hard on your front wheel bearings and axles, and it's hard on the loader, and we already know how these New Holland loaders are. Better yet, these Allo Quickie loaders. Because on Big Blue, that Allo Quickie loader that says New Holland on the side, even though it's not New Holland, it's an Allo Quickie, it's a piece of shit. So, anywho, we got lots of bales to play with out here yet, so probably another 3 bunches. I figure 6 loads out here anyways, so let's keep going. Talk to you later. Alrighty guys, well, I've got like 36 or 38 bales left to bunch up out here, but I had a phone call from a good buddy and he needs some welding done. So I'm gonna head home. I can come back and get the rest of these bunched up tomorrow or the next day. My truckers that were supposed to come tomorrow, which would be Wednesday, August the 9th, they also haul cattle, and apparently there was a big sale in Moose Jaw, Sask, and they're busy as hell hauling cattle out, but so they're not going to make it tomorrow. So anyway, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 or 6 bunches here already. And there's one more plus a couple bales. So anyway, the truckers are supposed to come on Saturday now. And apparently there's 4 trucks lined up for Saturday. So that should be interesting. Anywho, I am going to go home so I can do this welding job. Give us the old thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and fun. Let's get her done. We'll catch y'all later.